Good morning, everyone. Cassie? Oh, there we go. Welcome to Centers for Spiritual Living Cape Coral, where we are here celebrating your spiritual magnificence today. And please give us a warm welcome for the Big Love Band.
Good morning. Okay, we're going to pump up some energy this morning, so you all, we need to stand and dance and sing with us.
There we go.
I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I take. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I see joy, I see peace, I see goodness surrounding me. I see love in every breath I take. I see God in everything. I see happiness, I see freedom. I see the beauty that lives in me. I see perfection in what life brings. I see God in everything. I see God in everything. I see God in
Feeling good already. I love this place. Happy Sunday, everyone. My name is Linda Lloyd. I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at the center, and so very honored and privileged to be your host today. And we just want you to know that wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are very welcome here. And we believe that we are co-creators of the divine and that you can change your entire life by changing your mind. And I love to throw this in every once in a while. Some of you have already heard it, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but if I can do it, anybody can do it, okay? And I've done it. I found happiness, so it's such a great place to be. So I invite you to join us and hang out with us and do the same. Ernest Holmes is the founder of the philosophy that we study and teach here. The universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, both contemporary and traditional. So we consider the Bible and Jesus' teachings all the way up to Deepak Chopra, Louise Hayes, Eckhart Tolle. We do it all here, so because we like truth. So please visit our website at CSL Cape Coral for more information and our upcoming events, to submit prayer requests and to give us your comments, and most of all, so we can get in touch with you and if you have any questions there. So, and I think now it's time for, we're going to do we have an affirmation for those of you who are new here. We are welcoming a new minister. We are in that process. And this is our affirmation statement. And so I invite you to all say this together with us. Our new minister is an energetic, creative, dynamic, charismatic leader who is fun, loving, and kind. A teacher and administrator who inspires our community to greater spiritual heights, prosperity, and joy. Woohoo! And more of our beloved Big Leg Band. Ooh, amazing things we're going to do right now. Thank you.
Here we go.
You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings. And with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You do amazing things. All the places you will go and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things.
Let's give them lots of love. Amazing things indeed. And now, stay standing. This is one of my favorite times of the service. Let's warm those hands up. We are going to do our blessing to each other in our community and all the way out to those in virtual land. So please repeat with me. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center.
All right, so our special. All right, there's not too many of us here, but come on. Hands up if you remember the song Dust in the Wind by Kansas. Come on. Yes! All right. Well, this is not that song. But let me tell you, it will totally remind you of it, just like it did me. And you know when that song came out, and if you loved it like I did, it's like, oh, it's great. And people that didn't, like, oh, it's so depressing. I'm like, no, it's not. Because if you're dust in the wind, you can fly around anywhere. And that's what this song is letting us know. Thank you, Cassie, for choosing it.
Please envision as we kind of go through this song. It's kind of what I did when I was learning it. I was challenging myself a little bit. So Spirit was like, yes, go, just jump in and do it. So kind of visualize with these words. It's quite interesting if you kind of close your eyes and go through it. We're picking a song to go with our talk today. So it's kind of a little bit about fear and then taking that step. So please do that if you can.
Making me play my guitar again. Oh my God.
It's like stepping off 100-foot pole. It's like holding your breath, then letting go. It's like giving in to the bottom, giving out. It's like giving up. Precious doubt. How does it feel skipping around with your fears, laughing as you fall? Can't you see it all intertwined, tangled vines, twisted lines? We are handfuls of dust. We are pieces of sky. We are thundering silence, answering why we are zeros. We are ones. We're everything, and everyone. We are silence, we are storms. We die and we are born. We're emptiness. We are form. We are handfuls of dust. We are pieces of sky. We are thundering silence, answering why. We are gods in the ruins, gods in the making. We are handfuls of dust. We are pieces of sky. We are thundering silence, answering why. We're gods in the ruins, gods in the making. We are.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was good, wasn't it? Huh? Should we give them a round of applause again? As I was trying to say earlier, they are few in number but mighty in sound. All righty. I'm John Coriel, one of the licensed spiritual practitioners here at the center. And our reading this morning comes from Opening the Doors Within by Eileen Caddy. She was one of the founders of Findhorn, that spiritual retreat and center over in Scotland. As it says here, for May 1st, big doors swing on small hinges. I like that. That's great. Tremendous happenings start from very small beginnings. This is supposed to be Spirit talking to Eileen Caddy. And it says, what I started in Findhorn in such a small way will grow and expand into a worldwide universal movement. A revelation will become a revolution. My ways are very strange, and that's God speaking there. My ways are very strange and very wonderful. They are not your ways. Walk in my ways in absolute faith and confidence, and see my wonders and glories unfold. The spring of a new age is here, bursting forth in perfect harmony, beauty, and abundance, and nothing can stop it from coming about. There is a right time and season for everything, and now is the right time and season for the birth of the new age. So dwell not on the past, leave it all behind, and see what I have for you this new and glorious day. See my wonderful promises all come about, and give eternal thanks for everything. Hold evermore before you the vision of the new heaven and the new earth. I've got to repeat that top line again. Big doors swing on small hinges. I just love that. Can you tell? Right. Well, let's take that into prayer right here and just recognize God the good is right at the center of each one of us and is right here where we are in the midst of this wonderful celebration today. So we just say thank you for that, and thank you for all the good hands that brought this service to fruition. So we just say thank you, God. Thank you, thank you. And as we know that to be so, together we can say, and so it is. Yes, yes, yes. And it is my pleasure now to introduce our speaker for this morning. Reverend Gene currently resides in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Is there a Stone Mountain there, I guess? There is. I've never been there, so she's a newly licensed Center of Spiritual Living minister and has served as a practitioner for 16 years. Reverend Gene serves in the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta as the education minister, youth program minister, bookkeeper, and a myriad of other duties in service to her beloved community there. She has her hands full, I can see. Reverend Gene is also the author of a children's book entitled Brookie's Adventure, which is a metaphysical children's book that helps children understand that God is always available. That's good for us to keep in mind, too. Indeed. Her calling is to teach the good news of science of mind and spirit and to let everyone know that God is ever available. Yes, yes, yes. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Gene Bell.
Thank you, John, and thank all of you. It is so good to be here. Let me just look at all of you. Yes. How beautiful. You're few, but mighty. Yes? All right, let's take a breath. Let me not mess this up. Okay. All right, so our talk title today is What's on Your Spice Rack? And I'm like, what's on your spice rack? Are you kidding me? CSL, is that what you got for me? But then I started looking at that, and I realized, have you ever had a recipe and it calls for a spice you don't even know of? You never heard of it. You can't even pronounce it. So you buy it, makes the recipe fantastic or not, and it ends up in the back of your spice cabinet. And you don't even think about that thing until the recipe calls for it again. And that's just how our emotions are sometimes. Sometimes we have an event that happens in our lives, and an emotion will come up, and it gets suppressed because you don't particularly like that emotion. You don't like that spice, right? And then another event will come up, and then here it comes again, back, up front and center in your life. You know, my son, he's my spiritual son. He's not my biological son, but we've been growing old together for almost 25 years. He has a habit of coming into my kitchen when I'm cooking over the holidays and looking in my pot. And one day I caught him. He was going to put spices in my stew. And I said, don't do that. And what is that? he found one of those old spices. I'm like, oh my God, you're about to ruin dinner for all of us, right? But that's how he is. He just wants to spice things up, and he thinks, oh, experimenting is just fun. But I don't know about you. This is a good title, and this is a good title for the month, Emotions, because things have been getting really interesting out there in the world of effect. I have seen individuals just go off of the smallest infraction and have caused havoc not only in their own personal lives, but in the lives of so many people around them. And we know, because the news is always telling us what's going on out there. There's a war right now, a horrible war in Ukraine. And there's 27 other conflicts all around the world. There's high gas prices, there's high food costs, there's inflation across the board, and other events. And I know we all have our spices in order. But there are a few that are feeling on edge, and that's okay, because we have this wonderful philosophy to help bring us our spices back in alignment. So, we suppress our emotions a lot, but then there are others that are willing to let it out. I remember as a child hearing, well, boys don't cry, and boys are not supposed to be afraid, and girls are not supposed to get angry or aggressive. It's not ladylike. So those emotions get suppressed, and then they raise their ugly head at the most inconvenient time. And so, what do we do with that? Our beloved founder said, it is claimed that 70% of all diseases are the result of suppressed emotions. Now, he said claim because psychology at that point in time was in its infancy, almost 100 years ago. But we know now, we have psychological and scientific proof that suppressed emotions will raise havoc in the body temple and in the mind. You know, when I was a teenager, I had an anger issue. And it was because my parents had unresolved emotional issues that they had to deal with, and I had to experience. As a young child, my father had a drinking problem. I had old parents. My father was born in 1910, my mother in 1919. But my father was born in the South, and he experienced many horrific things in the segregated South. And his form of medication was alcoholism, which unfortunately caused havoc in our household. And I remember one horrible evening, he came home intoxicated, and my mother confronted him about it. And he slapped her in front of his 5-year-old daughter. I became afraid for my mother, but my fear quickly turned into anger. And I remember grabbing his leg, and I was probably around his knee, and I was hitting him and pushing him back and saying, "You don't hit my mommy, Daddy. You don't hit my mommy." And I remember looking up at him with angry eyes, and him looking down at me in horror, for he knew what he had done. He had done something that he could never take back. He could never erase again. And I remember him saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and walking away with tears in his eyes. And I never forgave him. And I was always vigilant, on the lookout. "You're not going to hurt my mommy again. I don't like you, Daddy." And I would warm up every now and again when he'd bring me a nice candy or sweets. But how many of us end up with anger issues or other unaddressed emotions that we don't even realize that we have because of things that have happened to us, because of unresolved issues in our family unit. So many of us move into this philosophy because we're trying to heal our past. We're trying to heal the hurts and pains that we've experienced. And we accomplish that through this wonderful philosophy called Science of Mind. So as a teenager, I abhorred bullies. And I would come to the rescue of complete strangers at some time at my own peril. I was like, okay, I would be super vigilant for anyone that might be an easy bully prey, and I would stand in their defense. And a lot of times my bravado would be enough to shy the would-be bully away. And they're like, okay, this girl's crazy. I don't think I want to tangle with her. But in junior high school, it also helped that my best friend was 5 feet 11 inches tall and looked menacing. So here's little old short me and tall Nicey. Her name was Nicey. Can you believe that? And no one knew how kind-hearted Nicey was and what a fun-loving nerd she was, just like me. They're like, okay, I'm not going to mess with the crazy one, and that one I'm definitely not tangling with. But what do we do? What does our philosophy tell us to do? So many times we try to do a spiritual bypass and say all is well when those unwanted emotional spices pop up in our lives. All is well, all is good, not going to deal with that, just going to go over here and do a few affirmations, instead of confronting exactly what it is, because when you confront what you're facing, that's when you can apply your spiritual principles to it. That's when you can get to the root cause. And Ernest Holmes was always telling us to go to first cause. What is first cause? And that includes first cause for our emotional problems. Because that's when you can look and say, yes, the solution is this, because the cause is that. You know, one of my very favorite parables is the Prodigal Son. And I love it because it talks about Spirit as a loving parent, a loving father, who has a wonderful, accepting, healing nature. Now, we all know this story about the wasteful son who spent all of his spiritual coin in a far, far away land. And he became distraught with his emotions. He decided to take a job feeding pigs. Now, we know that feeding pigs is an abomination to anyone of the Jewish faith. But he took that job because he was in despair. He felt like he was all alone. And my favorite line is, but when he came to himself. And as he headed home, even when he was still a far way off, his father saw him and had compassion. And he ran to him and fell on his neck and kissed him. And then he started going off in a tirade. Oh, Father, I'm sorry. I've sinned against you, and I sinned against heaven. I sinned against the pigs. I sinned against everybody. He just threw everybody in there. But you see, the great lesson here is that God never condemns. And that's illustrated by the response of the Father. And the Father said, bring a ring for his hand and put a robe on him. Put sandals on his feet. Okay, I'm sorry, vegetarians, but the next line is, and kill a fatted calf. And let's make merry, because my son who was lost is now found. My son who was dead is now alive. You see, when we turn back to the divine that is within us, and we lay it all out, Spirit comes to us and rescues us through our practitioners, through our spiritual community, through this wonderful philosophy. Okay, I'm getting emotional. Let me get it back into order here. You know, Ernest Holmes tells us there's an emotional craving for self-expression back of everything. And when it is repressed, it does lead to trouble, and pretty serious trouble. Perhaps to a large percentage, all of our troubles. So what do? You know, science has finally caught up with what we've known, that ancient wisdom, that ancient philosophy. They finally caught up with us. And one of my favorite books is Mind Over Medicine by Lisa Rankin. And Lisa tells us that scientists and researchers have been perplexed for many years when they do research because of the placebo effect. You give someone a sugar pill, you give them a saline injection, and they get better. They're cured. And they're like, why? Because they believed that they would. They believed that they would get better. So we know in this philosophy the importance of faith. We know in this philosophy the importance of conviction in a power that is greater than we are, and we can use it. But it's not easy. It's not easy to face some of these emotions and these hurts and these pains. And sometimes they're so buried deep, they manifest in our body temples. And when we go to a practitioner, sometimes we don't even have the words to explain what's going on. And so one of the wise things that our founder had said, the prayer and the pill. There are times that sometimes we need a clinician too. But it doesn't mean that we just throw out the practitioner. We combine our spiritual work with any type of medical work, with any type of psychological work, and we make those two things work together to bring us back to balance. But I'm telling you, we've got to have faith. We've got to learn that Spirit is always for us, that there is a universal power and presence that will never abandon us. It is always there. It's just like the Father and the Prodigal Son. As we turn to it, it will turn to us. In fact, it's always there, here, now, and always. You see, when we use these tools, and note, we have to use our spiritual tools of meditation, spiritual mind treatment, affirmation, spiritual community, socializing with one another, talking to one another. John gave a beautiful and short prayer today, but he always said in his heart that God is good. God is first. I love it. We've got to put God first in all things. So as we prepare our way to freedom, freedom from all the things that burden us, as we prepare this way, we cultivate this faith through our studies. How many of you have taken foundation? I like this community. Rooted. And how many of you have taken the next step? And the next class? We learn. But as I was talking to Fran today, Fran and I came to the conclusion that sometimes the hardest journey and the longest journey is from the head to the heart. We have to embody these principles. We have to make them a lifestyle. We can't just hold them as a theory and a philosophy. We have to move forward and truly live the science of mind in all that we do. Wednesday night, we had what's called a gathering. It's not a class. So we read the Science of Mind textbook, and we use the electronic guide. And we found out that Reverend Dr. Edward Vignon, our spiritual leader, actually developed that guide. And one of the practitioners had said, why is this thing jumping all over the Science of Mind textbook? And that was a good question. We didn't know. And so the facilitator said, why don't you ask Dr. Edward? And she did. And not only did she ask him, he gave her the answer, he invited himself to our gathering. And it was phenomenal. That man has a light that just shines forth, even through Zoom. And someone asked him a question about something that they experienced recently that hurt their heart. And his answer was, when your light shines, and when it shines so bright, sometimes you attract insects, bugs. Not to say that any person is a bug, but you attract things to you that is not like your light. And so what do you do with that? I'm going to tell you, it's hard to stay in your light when someone's fussing at you and cutting you off on the I-285 in Atlanta. It's hard to stay in your light when customer service is not acting very customer service-like. It's hard to stay in that light, but that's the goal. That's the vision. To stay centered and anchored and to know that the bug is too a divine spark of the divine. Kind of hard, yeah, when you want to go, I'm just saying, it's kind of hard. But see, when we practice, we grow stronger in faith. And we grow stronger in love and compassion and understanding. And as I grew stronger, I began to forgive my father and forgive any and every infraction that I have encountered in my life. Because there is a hurt and pain sometimes back of that behavior. There's a hurt and pain that you may never know and you may never understand. But there's a spark of the divine at the center of every living, sentient being. And so now when I get a gecko in my house, I'm like, okay, spirit, as gecko, we got to go. You can't stay here, so let me go find a towel and get you out safely. Or if my dog finds you, and then it's a bigger mess. That's our practice, to see the light, to see the spark, to see the divine. And when our emotional spice cabinet is in disarray, let's go find those spices that have been pushed to the back and bring them forward so that we can actually bring them in divine order. And some of them might need to be thrown out. They no longer serve us. Right? They no longer serve us. My anger no longer serves me. Do I still get angry? Yes. But do I treat when I get angry? Oh, yes. Do I still have resentment? A little. Do I acknowledge my resentment and say, okay, what am I going to do with this? Does it serve me? No. What can I do? Even as a minister, I have 3 practitioners. 3 practitioners that I trust when I'm in my humanness. So we all we all will have to face our emotional spice rack and clear it up, straighten it up. And now as I think about it, there are some spices that are probably 10 years old in there. We have to practice. We have to practice the presence of the divine in our lives each and every day. This can't be a Sunday thing. This can't be a once a week thing. This is not a philosophy that we hang on a shelf when we leave here. It's a way of life. You are lights. And yes, the world is filled with insects that are going to be attracted to your light. And that is your opportunity to shine, to show that there's a power in this universe that is greater than you are, and that they too can use it. Yes? All right. So I want you to join me now in spiritual mind treatment. Let's take this opportunity to go within and know truly, as our founder said so many years ago, that there is a power in this universe that's greater than we are. This one mind, this one life, this one divine substance that is back of all creation. And it is greater than I am. And I know that I can use it. And I know that everyone that is within the sound of my voice lives, moves, and has its being in this power, in this presence, in this love. And I know that this love radiates out like a divine light. It shines forth, and it can heal every discordant emotion. It can heal all things if you just believe. And so I know that this power and presence is right where we are, right here, in each and every one of us. God the good. And so I know that my heart is filled with gratitude for this power that hears me and hears me always. And I release it into the universal law that receives the direct impress of my feelings and my thoughts and always acts upon it. And join me in saying, and so it is. Thank you, CSL Cape Coral.
Thank you so much, Reverend Gene. We're just so happy to have you here. Too bad you don't live a little closer. Yeah, from Atlanta. So my name is Pam Lambert, and I am a member of, I'm a licensed practitioner here, and I'm also serve on your leadership council. And I'll put in a plug for a new Science of Mind magazine because I grabbed it today and there was a quote I was going to read. I pulled out at random. And it's about emotions, it says here. This is letting go of envy and jealousy. There is good enough to go around, therefore. I do not withhold any good from myself or others, but constantly proclaim that good belongs alike to each and all. So this is our time for practicing the law of circulation. And there's many ways that you can give to our center. You can text a tithe, and the number, all the information is on the screen. You can send your contribution through PayPal, which we hope is working today. I'm not so sure. Or we could hit the donate button on CSL Cape Coral, or you could mail a check to our center. So now, and Smile Amazon is always a good choice. For those of us joining in person, the ushers will be coming around with baskets to place your gifts in and following our tithing affirmation. So if you guys will come up and we'll say the affirmation together, that's great. You, the ushers, you want to come up? And we'll just say it now. Right? And I think, okay, if we can say this together. Today, I enjoy divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. Okay, so thank you. I'll put mine in here. Lily, thank you.
Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Sadly, we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good.
Thank you, Big Love Band. I stepped way away so I could sing that and not ruin it for everyone else. So I'd like to put a blessing on this tithe that we've received. So knowing that we cannot outgive God and that there is only one presence and one power, and knowing that it is all good, it's all life, it is abundance itself, abundance in health and harmony, joy and peace. And so we just relax, let it be, and together we can say, and so it is. Thank you so much. And now we have Linda for our announcements. Thank you.
So, one of the things that that I took out of that I noticed is out of your talk was that you got the clicker, Cassie? Oh, okay. You can go back to the other one. I just wasn't sure. So it's about getting together, and in Buddhism they call it Sangha, and here we call it our spiritual family. But we do a really good job around here of having fun and gathering and doing things. So I am your human invitation to these events and things that we do here at the center. So please check your email, and if you're new here, please sign up to get our emails, and or pick up a flyer in the lobby, or visit our website at cslcapecoral.org to view and register for any of the upcoming classes and events. We got a lot going on here. So we are so grateful for our amazing Sacred Service volunteers for making our Minister's Garden welcoming and beautiful again. A handful of us came for that event. It's right outside these doors here. It's a beautiful little garden, and you're welcome to peek out there, and I'm sure we'll be doing other things. We do drumming circles and things out there. But we want to give a huge thank you to Miss Patty Carney. Where are you? Off to the side over there. Patty poured all her heart and love into that garden, and you can feel it when you're out there, so you must go and visit it. And so we want to thank her so much for organizing and facilitating the Minister's Garden and the dedication of Earth Day. That was really amazing, although I'm starting to think we need to have Earth Day every day, right? Yes. So, and thank you all that donated plants for out there, who put a little piece of yourselves out there, and for all that attended. And now I think Patty has something to say to us about it all.
Thank you, everyone. I don't do all of this by myself. I have so many people who are a team with me on the ministerial welcoming team and the landscaping team. And so for everyone, we have changed our name from the ministerial search team to the ministerial welcoming team. And if you think about the word, the change from searching, that we're always looking, to now we are welcoming. So thank you, John, brought up the suggestion about changing the energy around our team name. So thank you, John, for that. So the ministerial welcoming team and the landscaping team came together to redo the minister's garden, and it still is in a little bit of transition. As a part of our rededication, we had stones, and we wrote messages to our new minister on the stones, and everyone placed them in different places in the garden. And I welcome everyone who was not there for the event on that Thursday evening, or if you were there and you'd like to do another stone. We have stones in the back in the basket and markers for you to put a message to our new minister, who we are attracting to us in this moment. And we'll have the door open, and please feel free to go out there and place it anywhere in the garden that you would like. So thank you.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you, Patty. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I did one. It'll be like this perpetual Easter egg hunt with beautiful, beautiful, shiny rocks. So, and Patty also is a Reiki master, and she has a that's how you say it, right, Patty? Yusui, Holy Fire 3 Reiki master, and it will be on Zoom Tuesday, May 3rd from 6:30 to 8 p.m. for an evening of distance Reiki, and it is offered on a love donation basis. And if any of you haven't had the pleasure of experiencing Patty's energy field that she brings in, I invite you to do that. It's amazing. Please join us on Friday, May 13th from 7 to 9 p.m. as we watch the metaphysical film Inner Worlds, Outer Worlds. To watch the trailer, visit the registration page on our website. Popcorn and drinks are provided, and bring your own. So $5 love donation suggested per person. And those are really fun because we come together, we watch something cool, and then we get to have spiritual discussion. Are you new to our community? Or have you been here for a while and just wanted to learn more about the benefits of CSLCC's membership? Then join us on May 22nd following Sunday celebration for our quarterly membership orientation meeting. And I'm here to tell you, service is just such a wonderful thing for the soul. So I invite you all that have wanted to do that to check that out. And 1 Minute Miracles are back, so don't leave here without your 1 minute miracle. After celebration, the practitioners all come up front here, and we love to pray with you. So please come up, and we will be available for you. And now it is time for Standing in the Light, so I invite you all to stand. And this is the time where we see past the situation and circumstances and see through into the possibilities and potentialities of anything that may be weighing on our hearts and souls for ourselves and our family and friends. So I am standing in the light for this amazing spiritual center, Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, and standing in the light for our new minister that is on the way. Standing in the light for Sharon. Standing in the light for Erica and Rita, all needs met. Standing in the light for the Ukrainians in Mariupol. Standing in the light for Teresa, Larry, and Brittany.
Standing in the light for every nurse and first responder who has been there for us, especially the past 2 years. And thank you for what you guys do.
Standing in the light for all the nurses and first responders. And I'm standing in the light for all the unspoken prayers, and I invite you to put your name to be included in this field of love and light energy and knowing the truth. Linda. And so how good it is to come together. I am so grateful to remember once again, to honor, to celebrate, to appreciate this one benevolent, loving presence that is everywhere, that we are, each and every one of us, because it is within us, and it is that without, recognizing there is no separation. So I know that these names that we have included in the light here, that our love energy is impressed upon the universe, and knowing that we are strong arbiters of truth as we stand strong in our faith of knowing that there is so much more beyond the surface situations and circumstances at work, that life is always at work for the higher, greatest good of all. And so I am knowing each one here as we move forth out into this day to day that has been so lovingly prepared, as I like to say, a 5G day. Great, grand, glorious, good God day, knowing it is so that there is nothing that we have to do to bring it about other than to just let and allow the good of God to reveal itself everywhere that we go on this day and each and every day. So I am just so grateful and thankful, and I invite you to claim this with me with those amazing, beautiful words, and so it is.
I said it. It's a great, grand